Before today's video, I wanted to make an announcement. I am going to be raising money for my local children's hospital through Extra Life. This is my 7th year participating in this great cause. I've seen people that I love fight cancer, and no child should have to go through that. I'm going to leave a link in the comments pinned down below, guys. Every dollar helps kids get the care and treatment and comfort that they deserve through the hardest time of their life. So please consider donating and make a difference today. Thank you, guys. Never trust the gaming industry, not the analyst, not the journalist, not even the publishers themselves, guys, because every few months we're told the same old story. This game's a massive hit. It's breaking records, topping charts. It's selling better than ever. And then there's complete silence. Not a zip. Guys, a few weeks later, these same companies will admit, well, actually, sales were softer than expected. Well, that's exactly what happened with Borderlands 4. When's the last time anybody said Borderlands 4 out of their mouths, guys? That game came out, and then it was just a fart in the wind. But the media told us it was a massive success, guys, that it was the fastest selling in the whole entire franchise, that it had record-breaking numbers. But now the truth's out. Borderlands 4 didn't just stumble. It literally face planted, guys. But before we break down how this happened and why it proves you can't trust the so-called experts running the industry, if you enjoy honest, unfiltered, pure, unadulterated commentary about gaming news the media won't tell you, hit that like button, subscribe, and join the 8BE Nation. Let's get it. 2070-72, let's go. So 2 weeks ago, analysts were celebrating. They claimed that Borderlands 4 sold 30% more than Borderlands 3 at launch. They said that Gearbox was counting stacks of money, and multiple gaming outlets called it the fastest selling Borderlands game ever. Ever, guys. And it sounds great, right? Except none of that was true. They might as well be Pinocchio because they got the lying nose going on. Because just days ago, Take-Two quietly admitted that sales were softer than expected, blaming PC performance issues and promising a long tail. Translation, it didn't sell like they hoped. And here's the reality behind the numbers, guys. Let's talk about the reality players actually experienced. The game launched buggy. In fact, the Switch 2 port is indefinitely suspended. That's how bad it was optimized. But yeah, the game launched buggy, especially on PC. We even covered it getting exposed on Conan's live TV show. But it was discounted just 1 month after release, something that infuriated a lot of early buyers. They bought early access to it at full price. A month later, it's lowered. And on Steam, the reviews are mixed, with thousands complaining about performance, crashes, and terrible UI design. It's not good, guys. It's no bueno. And Borderlands 4 peaked at over 300,000 concurrent players. But within 2 months, guys, the number has abysmally cratered to about 17,000. Go look for yourself. This game has cratered, guys. That's not a long tail. That's a free fall. Like, wow. And yet, journalists are still out here saying the game landed well because they gave it good reviews. But again, don't trust these Access Media journalists. These guys that are the actual grifters, even though they call people like us grifters, because we say things that they don't like. We say things that they don't want to hear. We don't do that media spin. A lot of these journalists are the grifters out there lying about games, lying about success, doing the media spin because they're being paid to do it. And that's why you can't trust gaming journos anymore, guys. The industry used to have critics who actually cared about consumer trust. Now it's basically PR in disguise. That's all it is. Every review that you look at reads like a marketing pitch. Every sales report that you look at is based on vague, cherry-picked metrics. And then you have companies like Circana that just hide stuff and so forth. And all the media, they'll tell you player counts are solid while conveniently ignoring that most of these players dropped off in weeks. They don't talk about that. And let's be real, guys. Borderlands 4 didn't fail because of one bug or one bad patch. It failed because of overconfidence. It failed because Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, Take-Two, they couldn't shut their mouths about it. They were blaming the gamers for their faulty PCs and making every excuse in the book leading up to this release. And they assumed nostalgia would carry it. They assumed, oh, people are familiar with Borderlands, they're fans of it. They thought the Borderlands name guaranteed success. Well, spoiler alert, it didn't. It didn't. When you dig into the numbers, it's obvious what happened here, guys. Even if Borderlands 4 sold around 2 million copies on Steam, that's roughly $140 million before you factor in discounts, before the marketing, before cuts. Take-Two probably expected around $700 to $800 million in total revenue. So when they say sales were softer, they're not lying. They're just framing the disappointment as long-term confidence. They have to say something a little bit more corpo, like, oh, it's softer than expected. And that's the problem, guys. Publishers keep raising expectations until every launch looks like a failure. And it's starting to look like that. Look at how many letdowns we've had of big franchises this last year. Avowed, failure. Borderlands, failure. Ghost of Yote, failure. Like all these franchises that are like sequels to previously successful games, every launch is looking more and more like a fail, guys. And instead of trying to improve the games they make, they blame the audience for not sticking around. They blame everything but themselves. There's no accountability. So here's why this matters. It's because it's not just about Borderlands 4. This is about an industry that will gaslight its own audience, constantly telling you everything's fine while quietly admitting behind the scenes that it's not. They'll hype you up, they'll take your money, and then they'll say, don't worry, it'll have long tail. We've seen it with Monster Hunter Wilds, we've seen it with Redfall, we've seen it with Anthem, now it's Borderlands. If gamers don't push back, this cycle will never end. It won't end. And it's not just something that grifters are making up that we're just lying about, guys. This is the new standard with AAA gaming. This is how modern gaming is. Not all companies, thankfully, are like that. But we're starting to see time and time again, these companies want the shortcuts to your money. They want the shortcuts to your wallet. They want to nickel and dime you and not provide quality anymore. All these companies are banking on nostalgia, but they're not doing any kind of actual real effort with producing good games. That's why half of the stuff that you see out there now is trash. And half of it takes way too long to develop. Half of it has way too big of budgets that they overspend and overcompensate, but they really don't provide you enough. And Borderlands 4 was a perfect example of that. An example of a game that had all this money behind it and they did nothing with it except make a failure, make something that they blamed everybody else for its failure instead of holding some accountability as a studio. And I'm tired of that. That's why I make these videos. It's not a grift. It's me talking to you guys as a gamer, explaining my thoughts on why I think things were failures. And let's be honest, Borderlands 4 wasn't a total disaster. It had its, moments. There was people that liked it. It wasn't a terrible game by any means, but it definitely underperformed. But it's another example of how out of touch this industry has become, where analysts cheer, journalists defend, and the only people left holding the bag is us at the end, guys. Never trust the charts. Just like with Ghost of Yote, I said, never trust the hype. Trust the players. Trust the real gamers, guys. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it around, help grow this channel. Drop your thoughts below in the comments. Do you think Borderlands 4 deserves a second chance, or was it doomed from the start? I'll see you on the next one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.